What's up, everybody? ZWade Photo. It's been a minute, a lot of life shit going on. Jumping right into it, I want to talk about all the shit that you hear. Well, technically, there are some truths to it, but it's basically shit. People say, well, the Z6 II is for this, and the Z7 II is for this, and I feel like they're just trying to get into the technical specs of it. As I said, there's some truths to that. They do things better than the other, but better to the extent that you're going to notice. That's what we are doing today. Specifically today, I had a fairly nice sunset, and so I decided that landscapes, Z6 II versus Z7 II with the 14-24 f2.8. You'll see in a second that I had them set to the exact same settings. Now, I know for a fact that the higher ISO on the Z7 II is a lot noisier. It's noticeably more noisy. But we're going to go side by side. They are going to be edited the exact same. Shadows, highlights, exposure, contrast, clarity, everything is going to be the same. And we are going to look side by side to see if you can tell a difference. Haha, but I didn't forget, before we do that, I want to invite you to come and check out my website, ZWadePhoto.com. Check out my personal art portfolio, and if you want, swing by the print shop and pick you up a print. All right, so here I am at the lake, and we are going to be shooting this. All right, so first up, I got the Z6 II up first. We're shooting at 14 millimeters, and I'm just gonna do 1/80th of a second, f7.1, and ISO 320, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the Z7 II, so we get an accurate comparison. It's literally just going straight on here, same direction, basically the exact same composition. So let's go ahead and do it, and I'll see you back at the lab. All right, guys, so here we are, up in the right hand side, just checking. They're both set at ISO 320. One of them is at 14 millimeters, the other one's at 14.5. Fuck off. So let's just we're gonna make this really simple. Erase up the exposure. I'm not gonna worry about canceling any of the bullshit in the background or anything like that. Anything I don't like, let's give it some clarity. I like to add texture to my landscapes. See if it benefits from dehaze. Yeah, just a tad. And let's do a little noise reduction, perhaps. I'm not going to do this separately for the Z6 II or the Z7 II. Now, we are just going to go here, and we're just going to do previous. That way it's the exact same. The lighting is going to be a little bit different. And we're going to do the same thing here. I wanted to do this because I was not convinced that this was going to give me enough to really focus in on to see if there's any real differences that are noticeable as far as sharpness goes. So we'll do the same thing. We'll just say add a little bit of exposure, tank the highlights, boost the shadows, add some clarity, add some texture. Let's do some noise reduction. Yeah, something like that. I'm not really paying that much attention to it. And we're just gonna do this. Now we can go in and we can see if there's any like real differences. So here is the Z6 II. Okay. Here's the Z7 II. Right off the bat, I don't notice much of a difference. So let's find us a spot. Almost everything should be in focus. Let's go to 200%. Just find something, see if we can notice any difference in sharpness. Let's focus on this rubble pile here. I mean, there's just not that much of a difference, you know what I mean? On my screen, this looks noisy as all get out. I've kind of gotten used to it. It's just this computer screen. These cameras are not that noisy. Let's look in here. Let's way back in the distance. Let's look at this house right here.
What do you guys think? Do you see any difference at all? Okay, now let's move to the next one. And this is exactly why I did this, because I didn't see any difference on these. Okay, this was my point of focus. It was right in here. This is the Z6 II and the Z7 II. Okay, now I can actually see a difference now. So look right here. Now this is at 19.5. This is at 20. So why this one looks more zoomed in than the other, I have no idea. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. But anyway, so this is the Z7 II. Let's go into 200%. Look right in here. You see how this just kind of looks a little creamier? It looks a little creamier in here. And this looks like way tighter. Like there's a lot more going on in here. Okay, look right here. We're looking at the edge of this log. Here. See, it just looks a little softer, a little creamier. And this just looks like there's a lot more detail. Yeah, the Z7 II is more detailed, right? I can see it in this one. This is exactly why I jumped to this stump on my way out. See, same in here. They're both at f6. I was focusing right here on both of them. Right, this dark knot right here in the center of this stump. Yeah, it's the Z7 II is obviously just a little more detailed. Even up in here, if you look at the top, if you look at the top of the log where it's cut off, yeah, so there's just a little bit more to be had there, but it's not a ton. Okay, let's look at this patch of dirt here. I want you to take a look at this, and to me, the Z7 II looks a little more rich, and it has nothing to do with any kind of color difference or anything like that. I literally think it just has something to do with the amount of detail that you get. This kind of looks more, again, creamy, perhaps a little noisier, maybe, because you're not getting like a full depth of the details and the grains of dirt in here. But the Z7 II, it just looks like a little bit better in that regard. But I mean, it's so small. It's so small. See, the Z6 II in this particular instance, it just on fine details, it just looks a little dirtier on fine details. Like this stuff here, it was actually in shadow, and so whenever I brought this up and it was trying to create details out of some underexposed areas, the Z7 II, although not better or worse in dynamic range necessarily, it just grabbed those details better. There's better, like, it's almost like there's better separation of the individual details than the Z6 II, which is exactly what you expect from like higher megapixels. But see, this is, not going to make a difference whenever you export this and somebody looks at it on their cell phone. They're probably not going to be able to see a difference at all. And it definitely, whenever you print, unless you're going really crunchy with it, you'll have to get really, really close to like notice a difference in the details, and if your eye isn't that good, you may not even be able to see the differences, I don't think, getting up that close. But to my eye, I can see some differences, and that's just my opinion on the matter.
Let me know in the comments below if you can even see a difference. My money is on you're probably not going to see much of a difference on YouTube. But to my eye, seeing it on my computer screen and seeing it in prints, I know for a fact that the Z7 II does have an edge when it comes to landscapes. You benefit from having a little extra detail, although there is the drawback of not being as good in the noise department, which is characteristic of a higher megapixel camera. But let me know also in the comments below if you do see a difference. Is it big enough for you to care? Are you only shooting landscapes, or do you shoot a larger variety of photography? Only you can make the decision of how you spend your money. This is just advice from my experience owning both cameras. That's a wrap of this episode of ZWade Photo. If you found this video helpful, informative, or entertaining, make sure you like, share, subscribe, consider making a small donation in the PayPal link below. All those things help this channel grow, and I will catch you in the next one.